Well, welcome again to this preview of the UTeach AP Cybersecurity curriculum. Again, my name is Marie Gerardo. Leslie, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Leslie Brommer. Um, from UTeach Computer Science at the University of Texas, and we have updated our Foundations of Cybersecurity curriculum to 100% align to the new AP Cybersecurity framework, which is open to all schools in starting in 26, 27, with the first exam being May of 27.
So today we're going to do a quick overview, get into, what was Foundations of Cybersecurity, what's now our curriculum is becoming AP Cybersecurity. We'll do a preview of the platform and some of the exciting lessons that are in that. You will get access to the sample lessons afterwards so you can play around a little bit further. Then we'll talk about plans for next year. If you're looking for a curriculum, how to partner with UTeach CS. So, quick background. The University UTeach Institute is part of the University of Texas at Austin, and we have been doing pre-service teacher preparation for over 25 years now. So, taking math and science and CS undergrads and giving them a pathway to teaching, getting students who are really excited about STEM and helping them become excellent teachers in a project-based, using a project-based inquiry-focused approach. And there's been a lot of research about how effective this is. The program that started at UT Austin is now replicated at over 50 universities nationwide. That's kind of how we started. And then UTeach CS launched 10 years ago. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. But we launched when College Board was introducing AP Computer Science principles. And so we saw the need for all these teachers who are going to start teaching AP CSP, but not have that CS background or background in project-based instruction. So we developed a curriculum, we developed professional development and accompanying teacher support that goes hand in hand throughout the school year for CS principals, one of the first College Board endorsed providers for that program. And then a few years later, our CSP teachers asked us, well, where's the CSA curriculum? And then they're like, well, where's the cybersecurity curriculum? So we keep growing slowly but surely. And we know, especially for APCS, there's a lot of curriculum providers out there. For AP cybersecurity, there's not a whole lot out there yet. We were kind of lucky that we had already decided to develop and launch our Foundations of Cybersecurity curriculum a couple years ago that we've been able to transform into AP cybersecurity. But there's, a few things that make our program unique when you have a lot of different options out there. So first off is that project-based approach that I mentioned. We've done research. There's a lot of other research out there about how effective that is. There's just a lot of evidence that shows that it increases student engagement, increases teacher satisfaction, increases student test scores, and that's what we end up seeing. So students who've been using our curriculum for APCS principles or APCSA typically outperform the national averages by 3 to 5%. And that is, with a lot of schools that we work with are also Title I schools. We work with, a whole range of different students, boarding schools, private schools, international schools, Title I schools, a little bit of everybody. But we really take that project-based approach, and we've found it works for all types of students. Secondly, we, like that evidence-based approach. So when we were choosing a new platform a few years ago, I think back in 2021, we selected the Codio platform because they do also take a very evidence-based approach to their platform design. So they're a platform designed specifically for CS education, and they have all these really amazing tools that optimize student performance, streamline things on the teacher side of things, cool learner behavior insights that are all embedded in throughout that. And then the other side of things, we're part of a teacher preparation program. Teacher support is at the heart of everything that we do. So we think it's vital that teachers get unlimited, on-demand teacher support, whether that's one-on-one coaching via Zoom or email support, or, no shame to lurkers. If you want to just listen in, when we get a great question from one of our partner teachers, we make a little video and send it out to all of the partners. So you get the benefit of colleagues all over the country and all over the world, because 80–90% of the teachers that we work with are the only cybersecurity teacher at their school, maybe the only CS teacher at their school or in their district. So try to be that virtual professional learning community, mentor, teacher, whatever you need, that secret answerer, question answerer coach on the back end. And then the professional development. So we have done in-person PD, we've done live online PD, and actually after we introduced the self-paced online PD, that just kind of became a lot more popular because it fits into your schedule however you want during the summer. You can be on vacation and do an hour here. You can wait and, do it all, in a week or two. So you can go as fast or as slow as you want over a 3-month time period. And we do have the benefit of, it's not just fully self-paced. You're not all on your own. You're going to start with an individual meeting with your PD facilitator. So you get some personalization. You have access to your PD facilitator throughout the entire PD as often as you need or as seldom as you need to do extra coaching, get answers to questions, and really personalize that PD to your needs. So we found that is very effective. It gets a lot of the practical side of how to teach this, how to cover the AP requirements, but how to use, instructional strategies in this world of AI, how to turn on and set up your Codio platform to meet your particular needs and all of the different. There's so many different options and capabilities that it has, but learning how to set that up and practicing a lot of the assignments as if you were a student, getting that prep in the summertime before you get started so that during the school year you feel very prepared. So we get great feedback about that. So those are the kind of the 4 things that make our program different, that make us stand out. For AP cybersecurity, like all of our courses, there's the hands-on student-centered projects. There's a lot of different types of labs, collaborative research activities. There's videos embedded all throughout. We will be sending you a link to the syllabus. We've just updated that on our website, but we'll send you a direct link. This curriculum we developed actually 2 years ago in collaboration with Teach Cyber. And we called it Foundations of Cybersecurity Curriculum. But Leslie Bramer has done a lot of work this spring after we got this finalized AP course framework to adjust some assignments, add a few assignments, reorder it to make it 100% aligned to the College Board framework starting for the 26-27 academic year. And then real quick before we get into the fun stuff, and Leslie's going to show you around the curriculum, for those of you who are still setting up your CS pathways for the first time, there's not really any wrong answers here. There's a lot of different ways you can set up your CS pathway. A lot of times what we are seeing is schools doing AP cybersecurity as the 4th course in their sequence, the final course in the sequence. It's a really great capstone. With the information that we have from College Board and the information from our curriculum as well, there's not necessarily any hard prerequisites for AP cybersecurity. So you can also offer it before your CS courses and, offer it first and then have students jump into AP CS principles and AP CSA. The one you really want to make sure is CSA should never be the first course in the sequence. That is definitely a rigorous, challenging course. So always, have cybersecurity before CSA or CS principles before CSA. But all 3 of those AP courses are complementary rather than sequential courses like Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So there are a lot of options and flexibility in how you structure your pathway to best meet the needs of your district. And now we're going to jump over and I'm going to let Leslie take over.
Hi, Gina, did you have a question?
Yeah, on the pathways, when the
Mhm.
ones that say cyber, let's see, you teach cybersecurity. Is that the AP cybersecurity that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing for CS principles, same thing for CSA. Those are all the
They're
AP
they're
courses.
all the APs.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have three courses, and then some schools fit in, their own elective or capstone or foundational course, and some, your students may only have one elective to spare. So as much or as little, we've seen every different type of order.
So the CS or cybersecurity elective is not necessarily the AP.
No.
It's
Mm-mm.
just okay.
Yeah, these in purple, that's choose your own adventure. That we have
Gotcha.
these three courses. You'll see we color code things. So anytime you
Okay,
see
yeah.
that darker blue, that's our CS principles. Anytime you see that teal, that's CSA, and then cybersecurity will be in green.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, Robin has a question in the chat. Foundations of Cyber was a recommended prereq. No, there is no prerequisite for the AP Cybersecurity course, according to College Board. So we just took our Foundations of Cybersecurity course and updated it, rewrote a lot of it, rearranged assignments to fit into to align to the AP framework. I'm going to pull that up before I share my screen real quick. So y'all, if y'all have not seen this from College Board, you can see it. Um, will you go to the slide about the narrative, Marie? There we go. Just so you know that we do have, so along with this project-based instruction, we do have unit projects in units 2 through 5. Unit 1 is a little different because we are introducing the narrative to the students. And the course narrative is that a group of hackers known as anomalists hacked the course with a message of doom and gloom, announcing their worldwide attack to bring down the internet. And so your students are tasked with stopping that, and they have to answer, they get clues during each of the assignments in the first unit. They gather clues. And in the last assignment in unit 1, they have to enter their password clue. And if it's entered correctly, then they see a video. And these are all like video driven. So they see it. There's a video that where it looks like it's a boring video announcing, just telling you about the unit, and then the hacker hacks in, and then he gives students the assignment. So the first unit, students just go through and gather clues, and then and every student has their own clue. So it's not like one student finds it and then everybody else, he gives it to everybody else. Everybody's clue is different. And it's just a fun, engaging way. Students love it. And then when they go to unit 2, same thing. There's and these are all 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all truly project based units in that the project is introduced from this hacker group, and gives them a unit project, and then they work on it throughout the unit and present at the end of the unit. So that's our hacker guy there, and you'll see him in a video here in just a minute. So I'm ready to share now. All right, so first I just want to show you. I don't know if you've been looked at this yet, but if you just Google AP Cybersecurity CED course and exam description, this is what you get. And so this was updated pretty recently. I had gotten one in January and then found out that there was a newer one, so I had to go back and make some adjustments. But this just tells you everything. I can probably make it bigger. Just get to the good stuff here, where it talks about the units and then the course framework. So there's two components, skills and course content. So these are all the skills that are addressed during the lessons. And you can see this collaborate has, some skills, and that's where these unit projects come in because they're collaborating, they're working with other students. And Codio has a great group work feature that allows you to toggle on a setting for an assignment and put students into groups. And so the students in each group are dumped into the same container and they can just complete the assignment in one student's, and then it populates everybody's answers and grades for that for the one project. And so these collaborate skills are definitely addressed as these other skills are addressed as well. And then you have the whole content where you've got units. You can see there's 5 units: Introduction to Security, Securing Spaces, Securing Networks, Securing Devices, Securing Applications and Data. And here's our course in Codio, exactly the same units. So that works great. And then each unit's got different topics, and we address those topics. And I'll show you how we've aligned to the AP framework. But when I talk about the AP framework or the AP CED, this is the document that I'm talking about. So this is your Bible for the course. And then each unit has got, let me show you this as well, has scenarios that the College Board has provided to you, the kind of activities that you can use in your classroom. Well, we have embedded all of these scenarios in our course. So detecting phishing emails, I'll show you where that is. So all these scenarios are embedded in our assignments in each of the units. And then you'll see a unit at a glance where you've got a topic, a learning objective, and then it shows you the scenarios. And then you have your essential knowledge statements. So for each assignment, I tell you what topic I'm addressing, what learning objective the students are to be able to do. That's what they do. And the essential knowledge statements are what they need to know to be able to do the learning objective. So that's how it's broken down in the CED, and that's exactly how it's broken down in our course. Okay? So if you've never looked at that, go look at it. But I'm going to pop back over into our course. So our course is hosted on Codio. And so you will purchase a license fee, which covers you and an unlimited number of students. So you create an account, your students create a Codio account, and everything is done inside Codio. Codio is not an LMS. In other words, it doesn't keep track of like a quarter grade or a semester grade, but it grades each assignment, and then you connect it to your LMS, and it populates those grades back to your LMS. And there's plenty of customization that you can do for this course, for any Codio course. And when you go through PD, the facilitator will tell you all the things that you can do with Codio. So for each unit, you have assignments here. And, I have everything that the AP framework has, but I also have some additional information. Because I just took some things that were in our foundational course, like the definition of cybersecurity. Well, that really wasn't in the framework. And I thought that would be something important for students that they would need to know. So there are if I felt like there were some gaps, I'm not dissing the College Board, but if I felt, because I taught cybersecurity, so I know what students need to know. And if I felt like there were some gaps, I put an additional assignment in there. And I'll show you how you can tell what I call a foundational assignment versus directly aligned. So you can see that this is the first unit. Now, some of these, like suspicious website logins, this is exactly what you would see right here in the College Board. Now, they're not always going to be the exact name. But when I could do that, I did do that. Like these four, I know are the exact names. Also, there was nothing on ethics in the College Board framework, which again, I felt is important for students. So I have something on ethics here. So I definitely added some things, but I didn't take anything away. And then you can just see Unit 2. Now, this is where we get into project base. So project base is just a pedagogy where at the beginning of the unit, you introduce a project with topics and skills that students will learn over the course of the unit. So when I taught with the UTeach curriculum for CSP, which started in Scratch. And so when we got to Unit 2, the project said, you're going to use Scratch to program. My students didn't have any idea what Scratch was. That's okay. You're going to learn it over the course of the unit. And so you introduce the project and you just get their wheels turning, whether it's something creative that they have to create, which all of these things are, and you get them together with their group just so they can start thinking. And then they go through some assignments and then they have another project work day. So this day is dedicated to working on your project, getting those ideas. Now they have some information that they can use. They've learned some things, and so they apply that during that work day. I have forms that they fill out, questions, they write written responses. Everything is provided. A rubric is provided. That's a big part of project-based instruction is that self-reflection. So we're always looking back at that rubric. And then they learn some more things, and then they have another project work day, and then they learn some more things, and then they have another one where they finish the project up. And then we recommend the day after the test, you allow students to present. And that could be a gallery walk. It could be where the group gets in front of the class. However you choose to facilitate those presentations, you can do that. We do have vocabulary that students kind of keep up with as they learn new terms throughout the unit. And then we have a quiz at the end. And then we've got tests, multiple choice, free response. That'll be based just exactly like the AP exam. So let me go into some assignments. When you get your sample lessons, please take note here. When you get your sample lessons, you're going to want to click right here on the lesson and you're going to see, oh, it doesn't show me. I don't understand. This is an online textbook. You actually click the preview, the eyeball. That's what takes you into a lesson. So pretend I click the preview and here's a tab where it's already open. So here's the lesson. Our lessons are bookends actually with teacher information. So the first page is your teacher lesson plan with your pacing and activities, description, any preparation that you might need to do, and any instructional approaches. The last page, this is the one that has the alignment to the the Cyber CED. So in this example, I say this lesson is directly aligned 100%. Here's the topic, here's the learning objective, here's the EK. And then we have a lot in this first lesson because I actually incorporated all of the Unit 1 scenarios into this one assignment to get the kids engaged into the classroom. Then we also down here, we've got vocabulary. Any vocabulary that's called out in an assignment you will as the teacher will see it listed here, and then I'll show you how it's called out for students to know. All right, so that's how each of our assignments work. We are in teacher mode right now, which means that we can see teachers. As a teacher, you see more information than the students do. You can always use this gear to toggle view as teacher, turn it off. And then you will only see what students see. So you can see those 2 pages are not available. So anything designated for teacher does not show up for the student. Let me go back to the teacher lesson plan, just so you can see. Um, all right, so we have this one's going to take two 50-minute class periods. All of our assignments are based on a 50-minute class period. And in the overview of the unit, there's a pacing guide for the whole unit, tells you how many days a unit should last. And if you teach on a block, then you would try to teach 2 lessons per class per day. So that's how that is. That's how we pace each of our classes. And so we tell you specifically, tell students to go to the assignment, go to this page, do this, do that, tell students to do this, allow them to do this. So we tell you exactly what to do. We give you information. Review from day one, and then finish these other 3 scenarios, and then have a lesson closeout. We give you discussion questions, and we also give you possible responses to lead students. So the scenario here is that the students are on a tech team for the school, and they've got some things to follow. So this is kind of what do you know about this kind of thing, first of all? And then we get into that first scenario that we saw, a phishing message. And so what you do to facilitate as a teacher, I would just kind of read through this. You know, you can facilitate or you can let students read things on their own. That's up to you. But and then we tell, okay, now discuss this. Here's this teacher guidance. These purple boxes are embedded in the lessons. So where you need to ask them questions, it shows up right then. So lead a class, answer these questions. These are the things that you're looking for. If students aren't getting there, you help them get there. But you can see that if I turn that toggle off, that teacher guidance does not show up. So students don't see that, only teachers. And then we go, and there's just, these are all 5 of those or 6 of those scenarios from the CED for Unit 1. The other units, they're dispersed in the correct assignment. I just did this one a little bit differently to get students engaged. We have a little AI audio here that goes with this one. And then, so that's the first day. Now, check for understanding. These are assessments that are auto-graded. So anything multiple choice, fill in the blank, Parsons problems are all auto-graded. And I did a lot of multiple choice at the beginning of the course, actually kind of all the way through Unit 3, but Units 4 and 5, I do a lot of free response. Students have got to start being able to answer questions in free response, getting ready for that AP exam. I know it's hard to grade for teachers, so I did a lot of multiple choice at the beginning of the course, but we got to get students prepared for that exam. So you will start seeing more free response as you get further into the course. All right, so this is an example of an assignment. Then we go to, here's another assignment. Oops, let me move this out of the way. All right, this is where we introduce the hacking into the video. Now I'm going to play this. I don't know if I set my settings right. So you let me know if you can hear it. Hear it? Okay.
Unit 1 Overview. In this video, we're going to discuss internet security.
We are the collective known as Anomalous. We have breached the depths of the internet, securing control over its vast expanse. The moment has arrived to release disorder upon the world.
All right, so this is our hacker guy. So he's going to pop up usually in those project launch days to introduce students to a project for them. So basically the scenario is it's a hacker group in Unit 2. They're kind of testing the students to see can they develop a social engineering um, activity or hack. That's a very popular unit project. Students go they have so much fun with it. They try to fish their other teachers, and teachers know that they get permission from the IT department or the principal, and everybody gets involved, or they make a flyer with a QR code and stick it around school that takes it to a web page that said, oh, you've been hacked or something. I mean, they really have fun with it. And and then starting with the third unit, I, with my colleague who we developed this together, I was like, oh, we got to make this a good hacking group. It can't be a bad hacking group. And so they kind of turn good and they start recruiting the student. And then there's a really fun Aces of Algorithm competition that the students are competing against the bug-eyed, what is he called? The Enigma Queen and Cross-Eyed Shadow and some other hackers. So it's really fun, but this is the introduction. And then it explains here that students are looking for a password clue that they have to gather through all of these assignments. And then there's regular information in this lesson, just like other ones. Here's an example of a quick bit video. So we also made these videos to kind of provide information in a different way than just having students read it. And so students watch a video here in this right panel. Kind of got some, they're just graphical, animated videos that deliver information, and then they do some checks for understanding here to make sure that they read. Here's a call out box for vocabulary. So anytime you see this green call out box, students know that they need to write that down. Not write it down, put it in that first vocabulary assignment. And here's another teacher guidance to wrap it up by discussing the information. And then there's a link if you need to go further. And then there's a fun scavenger hunt. So this is another 2-day assignment. This is the group project so this is where you can set up ahead of time paired programming or group work feature to assign groups to students. And when they're in a group and they go in the assignment, they will see the other group members. Here's another hacker video introducing the project. And here is a document. This is what I was saying that they will fill out along with some deliverables for this social engineering project. Each project is different, what we're asking them to do. But it's a driver. What is the word, Marie? Driver, not narrator.
The driver and the navigator.
Yeah, and the yeah. And so they can switch, but one person types here at a time. Only one student can type at a time. It's not like Google Doc where it's anarchy. It's one student types at a time, and then another student can request to be the driver, and they can switch off like that. So it's a really cool feature that Codio has. But here's the rubric for the project, and then here's how they what they fill out. There's also deliverables for this one. There's a video journal, and then they could show their flyer, different things. This is an assignment. I just wanted to show you different kinds of assignments. Let's see what this one is. This is on risk. So they have to kind of figure out, okay, is this a low risk, moderate risk, or high risk? This is for physical security. And so they can do a fill in the blank here. And then is this the one? Yeah, so this one, sometimes you will see a split panel. You'll see the guide on the left and something on the right. It could be a video. It could be a diagram. It could be the terminal panel. It could be a drawing app. And so they have to look at each one of these tagged points and determine what is a vulnerability for that. And so we're talking about physical spaces here. So that's something different. Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. This is a really fun thing that Codio included. added last year, I think, and I use it anywhere I can. It's a drawing app. So I want you to know we give you solutions to everything. So if we have an activity where students are going to draw something, we give you an exemplar. And so I gave you a screenshot here, but I also gave you an actual in Draw.io what the exemplar is. But we give students a starter file. Excuse me. So they go through what network segmentation is. There's some more vocabulary words, what subnetting, VLANs, all these things. Then they kind of have to put it all together. Here's a diagram, answer some questions, and then they get to answer questions about this document. So they can actually type in here. So what's the security feature that they would add to this weapon system LAN? And they can type it in there. Excuse me. They can add labels and colors and do all kinds of things. If they collapse the screen, they've got more room. So this is a really cool app, and it's used in a lot of different assignments. Unit 3's project is to design a network. So they're going to draw their own network, collaborating with other students. This one, I think we're using a scenario here. So I wanted you to see that. This one is a research activity. Yeah, this is a research activity that they do. This is the scenario that's in, no, this isn't a scenario. A lot of activities are scenario based. And we've got logs that they analyze and do all kinds of things. This is the one that has a scenario. So this is setting device login. Here's a scenario. This is a kind of conceptually, what would you do? What should your password complexity setting be for your system? You're a system administrator. So what's the best configuration for minimum password length, for password history, account lockout? Conceptually, then you go to a lab. So I know this is one thing that y'all are really interested in. How do students get practical hands-on activities? The answer is they do it right in their assignment. They do not need a cyber range. They do it right here in Codio. And again, now, instead of just conceptually saying, oh, the password needs to be 12 characters, now they're actually going to set that for this system. So each assignment opens up a vanilla Ubuntu box, sandboxed environment in Codio. So they are not going to hurt anything here. Your IT department doesn't need to worry. They're going to, follow these instructions and learn how to set minimum length and all the different account settings to secure device logins. And there's different, we do some explanations and then we tell them, okay, now do this. And then what did that just do? And then we've got, I just want to make sure, here's some free response, and we give you sample rationale. So this is what the answer should be. And then when you go to grade it, you've got a key basically to see if the student answered it correctly. And then we're always reminding students that these tools and activities that they do are not to be used for hacking, they're for learning. So we always tell them that. So those are all the different kinds of lessons that I can show you in a short amount of time, which I'm sure I've already gone over, Marie, because I tend to do that. Let me just scroll through here and then you can come back on audio, and then here's other labs. There's separate labs. There's a Wireshark lab, all done inside Codio. There's labs, firewalls. They set firewall rules here. Unit 4, there's a keylogger lab, there's a SQL injection lab, there's a buffer overflow, there's a password cracking lab. There's some of these assignments, even though they don't say lab, they have a lab embedded. Here's a scenario directly from College Board. It's its own assignment. Here's some of these other labs. There's a public key encryption lab. That's a scenario where they actually set a public key, send it to their, a classmate, and they encrypt a message and send it back and forth using asymmetric encryption. They do some hash verification with files. They analyze logs. So we do it all. But here's the entire course, 5 units. Everything is aligned. Oh, I did want to show you. Oh, just on the if the assignment is not directly aligned, we call it either an application, meaning they're applying what they learn, or reinforcement, like a lab, they're reinforcing what they learn. So we tell you on that last page exactly how it's aligned, if it's aligned or if it's not aligned. So,
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and do a couple wrap ups, and then maybe we'll answer some more questions. So again, if you have questions, start putting those in the chat. Just wanted to share. Can everybody see my screen? Did I share the right screen? Okay. Some of the feedback. So like we mentioned, we actually developed foundations of cybersecurity curriculum, and I launched it 2 years ago. So teachers have been using a version of this course for several years now. And so I have some feedback from some of those teachers. Again, it's going to look different next year with the AP alignment and all the new lessons that Leslie has made. But for some of the projects have stayed the same. So some of the social engineering projects just have sparked a lot of curiosity in students. They've been going above and beyond, doing things outside of, what we're even asking in the project, and, just really, what they've been learning in class has just been sparking a great curiosity in cybersecurity. So we've got some teachers saying that the curriculum has been a game changer for them for cybersecurity, that what we provide, and you can see the detail that Leslie has put into that curriculum from the teacher side, from the student side, providing everything that you need to get started teaching, really providing a lot of resources, explaining where flexibility and differentiation can be used, how to adapt it. Also happens a lot in the teacher support. Some teachers, they schedule a support meeting and explain their particular situation. Oh, well, my students, I'm at an online school. I need to turn this more self-paced. I know it's supposed to be teacher as facilitator, but how do I adjust it for my students? And our teacher support specialist is really fantastic at helping a variety of teachers figure out their particular needs. So just great feedback from teachers all around. Like Leslie mentioned, the platform itself really helps. Codio can be used as a standalone platform, or it can be connected with your school's LMS, whether you use Blackboard or Canvas or Google Classroom or Schoology, anything that's LTI compatible. Some teachers prefer to use Codio as a standalone platform and download the grades, but you can do that LMS connection. You really just need an internet connection. Chrome is the best browser. There's a few websites to whitelist, and then enabling cookies. And then that's kind of the end of the technical requirements. They're pretty simple, and we'll send you the link to those technical requirements as well. And then I know some people have asked already, this is on our website. We'll share with you this link as well, but the program costs are per teacher. So everything in terms of all of the curriculum that you saw, that's included. Unlimited on-demand teacher support, that's included, and as many Codio platform accounts as that teacher needs. So again, it's per teacher, so that teacher can have 1 section or 5 sections of cybersecurity, and that is all a single $950 fee. And then we do have, if you're also teaching APCS principles or APCSA, that's a separate license for a different course, but we do a discount if you're doing 2 courses. There's a bigger discount if you do 3 courses. If you're doing cybersecurity, but you want to do a 2-year license instead of a 1-year license, there's a discount for that too. If you've ever worked with us before, if you're returning a renewing teacher, you get a renewing teacher discount. So there's a lot of different combinations you can put together. Now there's too many combinations to put on the website. We're not hiding it. It just gets long and messy on the website. So you can request a quote from our website for your particular situation, and we'll put together a quote so you can see what the costs are for you. And then for the online workshop, like I mentioned, the most popular option we've been having is our self-paced online PD. So for cybersecurity, that's 30 hours that you have a 3-month time frame to get completed. So that's $1,000. It's a combination of those personalized check-in with your PD facilitator whenever you want to schedule it, plus self-paced modules. So you get a little of both. We really cover all of those AP requirements, plus how to actually familiarize yourself with the curriculum, plus all the Codio tools, tips, tricks, plus instructional strategies for project-based learning, blended learning, AI tools. It is really jam-packed of practical knowledge, and teachers have they continually rave about it. And even some from last year, they said, I enjoyed doing the homework for the cybersecurity PD. It's not very often that you hear teachers saying that they enjoyed the PD, enjoyed doing the homework from PD, but that's what they're telling us. If you live in Texas and you're public school, if you're a public school, public charter school in Texas, we can cover, TEA is covering all the costs. So it's a reimbursement program. So your school does need to pay for PD and a 1-year license upfront. You need to request pre-approval just so we can, that's like 5 questions for us to just make sure you're a Texas school, you're a public school, you're teaching the course next year. But then you register, your school pays, and then as soon as the teacher completes the PD, we do all the paperwork to notify TEA, and TEA sends the full amount back to your district. And this works for APCS principals, APCSA. There's a shorter workshop and a longer boot camp for CSA, so both of those are eligible, and our AP cybersecurity professional development. So if you live in Texas, definitely take advantage of that opportunity. Also, again, sorry, just for Texas, we have a middle school technology applications curriculum and professional development we're launching, and there's 3 different dates in person in Texas this summer. So there's very few spots left on that, but if you know anybody in middle school teachers in Texas, definitely share that with them. And then again, we are going to send you tomorrow an email that gives you access to the sample lesson. So you'll actually get access to a few lessons from all 3 of our courses. So if you are curious about CSP or CSA, you'll get access to that, along with student recruitment resources. I know many of the people in this room are planning to start this up for 26-27, but if you're not planning to start AP cybersecurity until the 27-28 academic year, we have tips, recommendations, flyers, templates, some really great CS and cybersecurity role model posters for you to use to help spread the word with students and families and get students enrolled for that course. Along with the price, we'll send you the pricing link. And, you can always reach out to us or schedule a time if your colleagues want to learn more. And then finally, if what you see today, go ahead and register on our website. When you register, you'll select whichever items you want. You can see the price right there, and it'll email you an invoice that you can send to your school. And then once we receive the payment or the purchase order, then we'll get you onboarded into the curriculum and help you get started. Our recommendation is always, if you're new to us, definitely the professional development and the curriculum license in that first year. And then in subsequent years, you just need to renew the license. And then I'm going to pause here and stop sharing. Leslie, are there any questions from the chat you want to answer?
I think I've answered most of them. The Rhonda had trouble signing up for Codio. Well, when you get our email that we're going to send you for sample lessons, it's a special trial account for UTeach computer science, and so that should get you logged in.
Okay.
That should get you a login account. If it doesn't, you can email us and we will get with Codio and get you set up. So we'll definitely get you set up there. I do want to say something about endorsed providers. We are an endorsed provider for CSP and CSA, but College Board is not doing that for AP Cybersecurity. So there will be no endorsed providers for cybersecurity. Even the three Paradigm, I think cyber.org and maybe Cisco that were kind of endorsed providers for the pilot season, they're not going to be endorsed providers. What they are doing, but it's not going to be released until I don't think until
Next
next
spring, spring of 27.
They
I think
are,
there's going to be a pilot release this summer.
yeah, which
The
I'm
full
not sure what
thing
that means, but they're going to have some kind of website that's called an AP Resource Finder. And we have applied to be on that. But it's nothing like the endorsement process. Nothing like it. We submitted 3 sample lessons and they're just going to review that. But I can promise you we're 100% aligned. And also, I don't think they're going to have any endorsed PD providers either. So but we've always counted like as a summer institute, APSI for CSP and CSA, but they're just changing the way that they're doing that for this AP cybersecurity and I guess AP networking. I would think moving forward, I think they're just doing something different. But just know that we know what it is to be an endorsed provider and our standards have not changed. So we're still doing everything that College Board would require because somebody asked about the audit. So the thing is, like when you go to audit for CSP or CSA, you can choose your curriculum provider. That's an endorsed provider, and that's all you had to do. Well, they're not doing that this year. So you're going to have to go through the regular audit process. If you've purchased our curriculum, then you would have the syllabus and you should be able to just upload that. I don't know, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure because we've always been an endorsed provider and we're always listed. So I'm sorry that has changed. That's a bummer for us. And I feel like that's kind of a loss for teachers as well. But that's how they're doing it.
Do you know
Um,
when I'm sorry, I'm just
okay.
interrupting.
No,
Do
go
you know
ahead.
when, I don't even remember when the AP College Board asks for the
Audit.
the audit process to be completed. Do you?
Yeah, if I remember, I think it has to be completed like by January. So it'd be like January of 27. That's how it used to be, I believe, when I was a teacher. I think it opens in March for the next school year, but I don't think it technically had to be completed until like January.
Okay, and we'll get notice, right? I think.
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember if
I know that's another disadvantage to not having endorsed providers is that we used to get emails about everything going on with the course and new frameworks and updated frameworks. If they changed a word, we would get we're not getting any notice. So that it keeps us out of the loop, kind of where we used to be in the loop and in the know. So, yeah. Okay. Lots of new questions. Or things. Yes, you will get the slides. Yes. Okay. Um, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Rhonda. You love what you see. Great. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a rigorous course. It's different than, there's some definite differences than what I had in foundations. Just because I'm following what APCED has in it. So It's whatever they decided was important for a first semester college level course. The exam information, I sent you the link to the CED. It's in the chat. I can just tell you real quick. It's 60 multiple choice questions and one free response. And there's samples, so you've got, I don't know how many, the sample free response question though. I mean, it's a lot of what we do. It's basically, anyway, it's a lot of what you'll already see. And we'll have some samples. I can put these samples that they gave us, I can put that as an assignment. So it gives you like logs and sources and different explanations. And then you have to answer there's looks like different parts to the one question. So it's going to be like you're going to have to secure all the devices for this network, and then it gives you all the information, and then students are going to have to explain how to secure it. That's the example that I'm seeing right now. So one free response, 60 multiple choice questions.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some really, thank you for everybody in the chat. Some nice things in the chat. Yeah, the similar approach that we use for CSP and CSA is what we brought to cybersecurity, really trying to make it accessible yet rigorous. They seem to be contradictory terms, but making it fun, but really preparing students for, both that AP exam and, what they might start seeing out in the real world. What we've heard from partner teachers is it's really getting students excited about cybersecurity, considering it as a potential career. So that's all we can ask for, that they get excited and they want to take a second course or third course with you, or maybe add a major or minor, or just, use it in their everyday lives. One of the teacher quotes that we got last year was, my students are still telling me from last year that they're still using today what they learned in my cybersecurity course last year. And that's amazing to hear. So thank you everybody for attending today. Feel free to share this with your colleagues, discuss this, come back to us with questions, and we would love to partner with you to support you, bring AP cybersecurity to your schools, your districts next year, and really inspire the next generation of problem solvers. So thanks again for joining, and definitely contact us if you have any questions.
Yeah, and we'll be sending a follow-up email by tomorrow morning with all the
all
stuff.
this info.
Mm-hmm.